The U.S. southern border crisis has reached critical levels, but do you know who's making the most money out of it? The people working to solve the problem. Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. U.S. southern border crisis is an absolute wrecking ball. It's so bad an actual wrecking ball down there might actually do less damage. Almost everyone, even progressive sanctuary cities like New York and Chicago, have had enough. I say almost everyone, though, because as it turns out, nonprofits are making billions off the border crisis. I guess they misunderstand what non means. And many have President Biden to thank. Under the Biden administration, NGOs have been given a ton of money in grants to manage the crisis, funding efforts like temporary housing and aid distribution. But according to an investigation by Open the Books, the NGO International Rescue Committee, a huge international nonprofit, went from receiving $22 million in grants in 2021 to over $235 million in 2023, more than a tenfold increase. Where are they lodging the migrants? The Ritz? On the International Space Station? And that's absolutely nothing compared to Endeavors, which gets 99.6% of its revenue from the government. In 2021, it got about $500 million from the government. In 2022, that shot up to $1.5 billion. $1.5 billion? You know, Mr. President, I would also be more than happy to help solve the border crisis. Now you might be thinking, well, the border crisis got worse. Maybe they needed that money. Maybe these NGOs are making good use of it. According to the Free Press, the CEOs of Southwest Key Programs, Endeavors Incorporated, and Global Refugee, all NGOs working with the government to deal with the border crisis, reap more than $500,000 each in annual compensation, with Southwest Key Program CEO making more than $1 million in 2022. For context, the average nonprofit CEO in the U.S. makes about $82,000 a year. But I'm sure these CEOs need to make over 5 to 10 times as much for reasons. Not to be left out, the International Rescue Committee's executive director also earned a meager salary of over $1 million in 2020. And if you want to help International Rescue Committee tackle the border crisis, they'll let you work as an unpaid intern. I'm not giving you a full list, but other executives from these nonprofits also made killer 6-digit salaries. But Chris, you say these executives deserve to be compensated for the hard work they're doing. It's totally worth it in the end, right? After all, since getting these salary increases, the border crisis has gotten so much better, right? Right? Remember Endeavors, the NGO that got almost $1.5 billion in 2022? They thought it was a good idea to use hard-earned taxpayer money to offer migrant children pet therapy. That seems ridiculous to you. Don't worry. They also offered horticulture therapy. Oh, I get it. I know a plant-based therapy that's good for people. Veganism. There was also music therapy, but this particular music therapy must have been special because in 2021, Endeavors paid a music therapist over $500,000. I'm an idiot. I got my master's in classical music composition. I should have gotten into music therapy. But it gets just so much worse. The Biden administration funds these nonprofits through the Office of Refugee Resettlement, or ORR. According to this 2022 report by a Florida grand jury, the ORR lost contact with nearly 20,000 unaccompanied children within just 10 months of 2021 alone. Case managers, meanwhile, performed home studies in less than 5% of placements. In fact, criminal history, lack of citizen status, and even total refusal to submit to background checks didn't disqualify sponsors from receiving unaccompanied children. The ORR also abandoned mandatory DNA testing, so when a child was handed over to an adult claiming to be family, they could actually verify it. And now there are thousands of allegations of sexual abuse, thanks in no small part to the ORR's decisions. One case manager reported having to release a teenage girl to a male sponsor with multiple other unknown males living in the same residence. Cool. Nothing suspicious about that at all. While they're at it, why not release a young girl into the care of a giant wolf dressed as a grandma? In fact, ORR discouraged close investigations of addresses that turned out to be for a strip club, empty lots, and open fields. The ORR doesn't even consider criminal background, current illegal drug use, the physical environment of the home, or other child welfare concerns as necessarily disqualifying to potential sponsorship. Yeah, you know, I think I could use one of those pet therapies as part of my mental health break. It's almost worth the tens of thousands of dollars this might be costing taxpayers. Now, if one were a cynical man, which I am not, one might think the ORR seems more focused on streamlining the migrant intake process just to make releasing migrants into the U.S. much easier so they can let in even more migrants. So clearly all of the money the government is giving to these nonprofits through ORR isn't working. There's obviously one solution. Give them more money. Biden wants to give ORR $9.3 billion this year instead of just the measly $7.3 billion it got last year. I should have been a music therapist. But instead, America Uncovered relies on your support. All it takes is $1 an episode on the crowdfunding website patreon.com/America Uncovered. I usually make about 12 episodes a month, but if that's too much for you, you can always set a monthly limit. You can help me to continue to uncover America for just $1 a month. Don't worry, we won't squander millions of dollars like NGOs. And as a thank you, I'll respond to your questions or comments. Today's comment comes from Cat T. For real, it's like the American people are in an abusive relationship with the government. Gaslighting actions and words not lining up with actions, not listening to what we say. Time to file for an order of protection. Yeah, Kat, after today's episode, I'm really feeling like that. Of course, Kat was responding to this recent episode about how YouTube, allegedly, was censoring content on behalf of the US government, which oddly, when I published it, YouTube didn't send out a notification to most subscribers and hardly anyone saw this video. How strange! You can click here to see it. Thanks for your support, Kat. Thank you for watching. Hit that orange button to support the show on Patreon. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching America Uncovered.